Hi, I'm Savannah. I'm going to be interviewing my uncle Louis Barletti, who was in D-Day and was on Juno Beach with the Canadians. So here are my questions. We know that you went to the beach Juno, and what was your position?
Actually, Savannah, I was an engineer. I was in the engine room, but during the landing, I was assigned to a 40 millimeter anti-aircraft gun, okay? Because our ship was small. In other words, the number of people on it were only like 31 or 32, so you had more than one job to do.
Yeah, how old were you during the war?
I was going on 21.
So were you one of the older people there, or were you
Well,
the youngest?
I was probably about the same as the others, except the officers were a little bit older, maybe a couple years older. But I was one of the older ones on board. Most of them were 19 and 20-year-olds. I was getting close to 21.
How did you feel about D-Day itself? I think it was a great idea.
Well, I'm glad that I was part of it, okay, because I think it was one of the greatest undertakings ever.
Yeah.
And I'm just glad I was part of it. But I feel sorry for all those that were on the beaches. Even though I wasn't right up on the beach, I imagine that these servicemen really put up with some terrific battles. And
Yeah, how far away?
well, here, I'll just show you. I don't know if this will help you. Here's some pictures I'm going to give you when you leave. Okay? Now you can see these are already up on the beach, aren't they? This is our, right here, we were parked right next to 312. This is us, even though you can't see a number on it. I remember LST 312. They all went by numbers, okay? This is probably an hour to an hour and a half after the initial assault, okay?
Okay.
All right. They have what they have a beach master. A beach master is one of the officers usually on the beach directing what ships they want brought in or which ones they're not ready for. Now see the rest of these ships all laying out here?
Yeah.
All right. Once we unload and get off, the beach master will call in some of these other ones, okay? We unloaded equipment, men, trucks, heavy artillery pieces, ammunition mostly, lots and lots of ammunition. Once all that stuff was unloaded, then they'd call in the rest of them back here because they had the same thing on the ship, okay? Because you couldn't get everybody up on the beach. It would be nothing but confusion,
Yeah.
all right? Now you can see we were probably already unloaded because our bow door is still open.
Oh, I see.
You see what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
See the doors in front?
Yeah.
Okay, then what we did, Savannah, our ship became a hospital ship after we unloaded. This picture right here is exactly what an LST looks like. Okay? After we unloaded everything that's on the ship, they had stretchers that folded out from the side of the bulkheads, from the walls, and it became a hospital ship.
What were the beaches like?
Just as sandy as can be. They really were. But what made them look so bad is where they had all these obstructions. You know what I mean by obstructions? They had, in other words, men could get through, but they couldn't get any heavy equipment because of the barriers that they had. Tanks couldn't get through. All these things were cemented into the beach, and that was very, very difficult for our troops, because even though they got around a lot of these obstructions, there were landmines that they'd step on. Now usually there aren't mines on the beach. It's when you go in a little farther. but there were a lot of obstructions on the beach that made it difficult for trucks and tanks and everything else to get up on the beach. That's why I mentioned to you, the beach master was able to tell the different ships, okay, LST 279, come in down here on the port or the starboard side. LST 312, do this. And you just followed your directions, that's all.
What was the weather like? Was it sunny? Was it rainy?
No, the weather was horrible. The weather was absolutely horrible. The wave, see, the D-Day was supposed to have been on the 5th of June. That was a Monday.
I read about that.
Okay. But because of the heavy seas and rain, it was terrible. It was an ugly, ugly day. And we were surprised that they decided to go ahead with D-Day, which was on the 6th of June. Okay? But the weather was horrible.
I read the article in the newspaper that you were interviewed by, and you said something about the English Channel.
The English Channel is one of the roughest bodies of water in the world, simply because the North Sea, which is off of Norway and Scotland, the North Sea intermixes with warmer water, and it creates these heavy seas. And but to answer your question, the weather was horrible.
Okay. Yeah, did any of your friends get seasick, or, and more importantly, did you get seasick?
A lot of people got seasick, but Uncle Lou never did. we had people aboard ship that got sick, real sick, ran off the side up chucking, but very, very few of them. You sort of get used to the rolling of a ship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what did you feel during the invasion?
Frightened.
Yeah.
Everybody, we didn't know what to expect, okay?
Like you didn't.
We had no idea what to expect. If you weren't frightened, you were lying to somebody, because we had no idea what to expect. None. Once D-Day was over, it was fine for us, because now all of our landings would be on a beach that was already taken over by the British or the Canadians or the Yanks. But it's those troops that were working their way towards Germany. They're the ones that got.
Yeah.
But as for us, once D-Day was over, all we did was shuttle back and forth from France to England, load up and go back to France, and then back again. On one or two occasions, the Germans still had what they called torpedo boats. They're something like our PT boats. They were like PT boats, but they carried about 4 torpedoes. Some carried 6. But aside from that, D-Day was the worst part.
Were there many explosions, Uncle Lou, around where you guys were landing?
Yeah, there were a lot of them, and most of them were caused by Germans. They would aim most of their 88s and 75-millimeter guns towards the landing craft, the craft that was going to go up on the beach. Very few were directed to the ships where we were. But what they were trying to do was stop the number of troops landing on the beach.
Were there just boats everywhere?
Everywhere. Everywhere you looked, Kip. You think you could walk across the English Channel. You couldn't believe, I mean it, you couldn't believe how many ships. Some estimated 4,000, some estimated 5,000. All I can tell you is there were a lot of ships. And there's going to be a lot of confusion, because these ships are all waiting to unload. They're waiting, you know, it was nothing but confusion for a long time. And nothing works out according to plan. You can plan all you want, and it doesn't come out right.
I also read that the Germans had E-boats or something like that.
They had their torpedo boats were called E-boats. They were run strictly by electric.
Oh.
Our PT boats all had engines that ran the propellers. The Germans had electric boats. E stands for electric. They had E-boats, which I just mentioned to you. It's German torpedo boats. And you could rarely ever hear them. See, RPT boats made a terrible roaring sound.
Like, who did you think had the advantage in the battle?
Who do I think had the advantage?
Yeah.
Well, on D-Day, I felt the Germans had the advantage because we had a tough time getting up on the beach, and then American troops had Omaha, and Omaha was that beach where it was strictly cliffs, okay, where they had to use grappling hooks to climb up alongside. You've probably seen pictures of that. But then after D-Day, I feel we had the advantage. We had far more men, far more equipment. I always felt the Germans had better equipment than we had. We just had more of it, okay? If you remember seeing any German movies, World War II movies, they had a big Tiger tank. We had that little Sherman tank that...
Yeah. I saw
But we had a lot of them.
Yeah, I saw a documentary. It was like a tank show.
Okay, yeah.
Like, they talked about we had five Sherman tanks, and they had 2 Tiger tanks. Each one could take out 1 division of Sherman.
That's exactly right. We had a lot of them. But if you talk to any World War II veteran, he'll tell you that 1 to 1, if you know what I mean, 1 soldier to 1 soldier, they were better than us. 1 tank to 1 tank, they were far better than us. We had 8 Sherman tanks to their 1 Tiger tank. We just outnumbered them. That's how we won the war, really. That's how I feel. We outnumbered them. We outnumbered them in troops. We outnumbered them in guns. We outnumbered them in tanks, trucks, jeeps, and everything else.
This is probably my last question. This pretty one. These 2 are for fun, but do you think the World War II movies have truth to them? Like, how much truth do they have to them?
I know what you mean. We sort of, people that write about World War II or almost any battle embellish it.